Boom, bam, bam. I am President Chad. This is Adelaide, and you are tuned in to not the EPL rewind, but the World Cup rewind. You understand? On the United Hour, you're looking at us on Facebook and YouTube. Smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that already, and get other people involved. Caribbean people could talk football too. You understand?
Real.
And we could do it very well. So every team in the World Cup has played one game. Hence the reason why this show is when it is right now. Good afternoon to Martin Phillip on the inside, early o'clock, right? Every team has played one game, so we're going to be reviewing group by group. Let's start with Group A, the opening game of the World Cup. Ecuador beating Qatar, the host nation, 2-0. The man Enna Valencia with the 2 goals, one in the 16th minute, one in the 31st minute, and that was enough to do the business. Let's talk about the second game in that group one time, and then we'll talk about the group as a whole. Right, so that game was on Monday. That's Senegal versus Netherlands. Netherlands leaving it late. The man Cody Gakpo, a guy who is supposedly, in high demand by European clubs, got the first goal in the 84th minute, and then I think it was the substitute. Yeah, Davy Carson was a substitute coming off the bench. Right, he came on and he scored in extra time in that game. So this is how Group A looks. Group A, Netherlands and Ecuador tied, 3 points each. Senegal and Qatar, they are both on 0, -2 in goal difference. Who do you expect to come out of that group at the least?
I think it's still a kind of a tough call. Definitely. I don't think any of the sides in that group particularly impressed me. I was a bit drawn aback by Netherlands, to be honest. Normally their football is so fluent, and Netherlands didn't Netherlands. They didn't Netherlands in the first game.
Yeah, it's true. It almost come like whoever come through that group going to get licked in the next round.
Yeah, it kind of feels like that after the first game. It could be the case where, players just now acclimatize into the difference of let's say, like per se, the whole experience of the whole Qatar, the pressures of it, because it's almost like in Netherlands' case, it's an Arabian country, but we know that those Arabian countries have strong ties with Africa to an extent. So Senegal almost played like a home team as well, which was surprising to an extent, because normally any World Cup that we have ever known, any game that Netherlands play, doesn't matter. Even if they play Brazil, the stadium is Netherlands. The whole stadium is normally orange.
The orange
and I think this is the first World Cup or the first game I've ever seen on a major stage where Netherlands actually looked like an away team. Like the fans were really behind Senegal. So they didn't really bring the football that we expected them to bring. The difference is they were clinical and they got it through. When they bounce up some of the other teams that we saw that we are going to mention later on, have they impressed us enough in that? It's just one game, but have they shown anything in that game to say, well, woo, this team has potential to beat a big boy? No. Senegal definitely miss Mane. They really, really miss that guy. I think they had a lot of opportunities. What I liked about Senegal is that Senegal has it going right up until the attacking third. Like when they reach the attacking third, they don't have that X factor.
Yeah, the footballers look fluent until they reach the penalty box.
Until it reach there. And I think that is where Mane is missed. But there are other teams that we haven't seen so many teams or a lot of teams with a strong midfield per se that has really clamped down teams so much. Not many teams have done that. So Senegal is a team, if they come out of the group, they manage to find a striker who is clinical somehow, they could be a team, a real dark horse, because their football is really impressive. But the
Bef-
attacking third is bland. There's no
before
one knows
before the
what to
World
do in the attacking third there.
before the World Cup, Senegal was my dark horse, and then
Yeah,
Mane got injured, and it didn't make sense.
yeah.
Clearly, they lack that cutting edge. Group B,
Mm-hmm.
however, is a lot more exciting. So in Group B, you have England, Iran, the USA, and Wales. England
Yeah,
demolished Iran 6-2. Let me just run through the scores in that game. So Jude Bellingham, only 19 years old,
yeah,
boss the
boy.
midfield for
Yeah, boy.
England, started off the scoring. Then he had Bakayoko Saka with two. He had one in the 43rd and one in the second half in the 62nd minute. Raheem Sterling ended the first half 3-0 for England. And then the second half, Bakayoko Saka scored the first one. Um, Taremi scored 2 goals
Yeah,
for Iran. Marcus Rashford and Jack Grealish. Jack Grealish looked like a man who just had a baby boy.
yeah,
He was so excited and relieved to have scored for England. So England demolishing Iran. We're going to talk about England and the broad scope of things in a little bit. And then you had USA versus Wales. That was a 1-1 draw. We had Timothy Weah. For people who don't know who Timothy Weah is,
Ooh,
he is the
I like that kid.
son of huh?
I say I really love that kid, boy. He's doing his father
Oh,
proud.
yeah, he is the son of, what's his father's first name again?
George Weah.
Right, George. He is the son of George Weah. For people who don't know who George Weah is, if I'm not mistaken, he is the only African player to have
Get
ever
the Ballon d'Or.
won a Ballon d'Or.
Yeah.
And I believe he was at AC Milan at the time.
Oh yes, he was.
Correct. So George Weah is football royalty, especially from the African continent. His son decided that he will play for the United States of America, and he's doing well. Um, and then Gareth Bale scored a penalty for Wales in the second half. So when you look at those teams, England, Iran, USA, Wales, who you expect? Well, we expect England to come out of this group.
Yeah, yeah,
England next game is against the USA.
yeah.
There are some people that feel
That,
the
that
USA could give England some worries. Are you
mhm.
one of those people?
I definitely am. USA has never had. All right, let me don't say never. 1994. I think with Kobe Jones and they in their prime. I think that's the only time I've ever seen the USA with flamboyant football to some measure. But they have never been a flamboyant team. Obviously, I support Germany, and one of the reasons why I enjoy watching USA is because they play similar to us in terms of USA is always going to give you, it doesn't matter who you are always going to have a very, very engaging and difficult 90 minutes. They are going to fight you down to the end. It doesn't matter if you score 4 goals, no goals, 10 goals, they are going to run you to the ground for 90 minutes. I think in that case, where it would work in England's favor because the English, just like how it is in the Premier League with most of their players, they thrive when you bring physicality because that's what they know. So normally that is they're nullifying, they are able to nullify that. But I think definitely with watching Timothy Weah, I think he suffered the case. USA could have won the game against Wales. I think he suffered a little bit on the earlier part of things because his movement was so brilliant throughout the entire game. But service was, it's almost like they were so hesitant to play the balls forward then. Um, Against England, should those passes come in earlier, whew, it really could cause a problem because he moves so well. On the flip side, though, I'm going to be real honest here. This England team, for me, England impressed me even more than Spain and others. And England impressed me in that way because I think it's the first time for the year, not just the season, that Harry Maguire actually had an excellent defensive game in terms of positioning and everything. And now with that happening, if this happens against USA, because everybody coming in against England, it doesn't matter how England look, the strategy is going to be target Maguire. And if Maguire maintains what he showed in this first game here, whew, and nullifies things, England's counter attack is it's nightmarish, and it's going to catch anybody if they get them the chance. So I think this game is
I
going to
will.
be one of the more exciting games that we may see in the World Cup in terms of end-to-end football, because both teams are going to try to break the deadlock early. Who scores? All right, if England scores first, I'm going to make a prediction here. If England scores first, it is going to be a landslide, because USA, they have so much pride, they don't know about, stopping the bleeding. No, they're going to bleed out.
They're going to run the game now
That's right. And with doing
and get
that, if
out of
England scores
position.
first and they run out, they will get skinned. If USA scores first, they have shown that they could be tenacious and try to grind out a result. If it's wise against England, we don't know, but it could be a different game. So I think who scores first will determine how exciting the game is going to be. Ultimately, though, I expect USA to have a chance, but I had to lean England on that one coming up. I really think England will take it 3 points. It wouldn't be a draw.
And who you expect to come out of the group with England?
Um, whew. No, that is funny because I've been following Taremi from Porto, and Taremi is a player that you can't give that guy a chance. And Iran proved against England like it doesn't have to be anything really flamboyant. You need to give this man half a chance, and he's going to finish it. With him alone on top, whew, I don't know, boy. I think I'm going to have to lean towards saying England for sure is going to top the group. And then I think I had to do a wild card here, and I'll have to predict Wales out of the blue. I think because Wales has absolutely no pressure. Iran comes in with pressure from in the Asian continent. They are a powerhouse, whether people like it or not. So people expect them to deliver, and especially with Teremi, who has been terrific for Porto so far. And then the USA, they always expect USA to do something that they never do. So they come in with pressure in every World Cup. So I think
Yeah,
the dark horse is
if USN come out at the group stage, it would be considered. It would be a big thing, with the failure of US football.
yeah,
What's going on
yeah,
with the
yeah.
coach? Like if
As
US is a big
always,
team in football.
yeah, as always. I think Wales has the talent for sure. Kiefer Moore wasn't given enough service, and we know he's a brilliant target man, and that will change. Um, However, I think because they have no pressure on them and they have the talent and they didn't lose their first game, they have a draw. I expect them to beat Iran, and then Wales against England, because it is like a derby match. I think they possibly will try their best to grab out a draw. So I would say Wales would come through on goal difference, probably over USA, but England and Wales for me.
All right, okay. Now I need to talk a little bit about England. England was very upsetting to me in
Yeah,
the terms of the 26 that they picked, because I think Tammy Abraham deserved a shout.
yep.
I thought
Tomori,
that Ivan Toney deserved a shout.
yeah,
I didn't understand why they were carrying Calvin Phillips,
yeah,
a guy that has hardly played. I think that there were other defenders, especially from the Syria A, that deserved a shout instead of, even if you insist you want to carry Maguire, okay. You're carrying Maguire and Dyer. We're carrying
yeah,
Dyer for. What
and
what
yeah.
Dyer added to the team,
What
you
are you
know,
doing there?
right? There. So I thought that England, now, all of that being said, and I still agree with all of those sentiments, the bottom line is England would have sunk or swim totally based on the setup of the coach.
Yeah.
Because the team that they carry have enough talent
Mm-hmm.
that if the coach was to play attacking football and not defensive football, they would still win games.
Yeah.
And when I looked at the starting lineup and I saw Jude Bellingham in the middle there, I
Yep.
was like, yes, this
Yep.
team could do something. And so said, so done.
Yep.
At 19, people may not be paying attention. The people who may be getting the attention is the Hurricanes and maybe the Sterlings and the Madison. Some of these guys may be the
Yeah.
ones getting the attention, right? The Trippiers and whatever. But I am telling you, Jude Bellingham in the midfield is
Oh
going to
yeah.
be the big difference maker for England.
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
once he's in the midfield, it tells me the coach is looking, instead of having two men, him and Rice holding, Rice is going to hold and he's going to play box to
Yep.
box. And
Yep.
as long as that is England's approach and they play attacking football, they have a good chance against anybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, before
And
the
that way I say
tournament,
they so
I
true.
didn't. Yeah, before the tournament, I didn't rate England because I thought the coach was going to do what he did in the last tournament and play extra defensive,
Yeah.
right? Because that's the only reason they lose the Euros. You score one
Mhm.
goal and you try to shut down shop in the
Yeah.
first half instead of continuing to play how you were playing,
Where you would have scored more
and
goals
you
for
could have
sure.
scored more goals.
Yeah.
And because they didn't do that, they end up going to penalties. We all know they lost the penalty shootouts
Yeah.
in the Euros. So I thought, they say old, you can't teach a old dog new tricks. I really
Yeah.
thought Southgate was going to come into the World Cup with this star-studded, attack-minded, quick. The only team that could challenge England for pace, and note I said challenge, I ain't sure they would win, is Brazil.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's the only team. England is fast, they're quick, and they have finishers. You have
Yep.
Rashford, you have Sterling, you have Harry Kane, you have guys who on the horse, they're running down that road.
Yeah.
But so far Southgate he changed.
He's done excellent, actually.
He's definitely playing more attacking than he was in the last tournament that England played. So I think England has more of a chance than I
Yeah. Yeah.
rated them
Yeah.
before coming into the tournament. Yeah.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
I think it's interesting because the point you made, I was really curious as to because he said it in a press conference playing Bellingham in the middle. And I know that traditionally, since he started picking Rice, normally Rice would have been the box to box, and Calvin Phillips is a nat. He would have been the one sitting in the defense, and
Let me tell you
Calvin Phillips
something.
is the natural box to
Once they
box.
play in Calvin Phillips or Henderson, England losing. I don't care who they play
Yeah,
now.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
If
I
it is
think Jude
Rice and one of them
Bellingham.
two fellas, they are going to lose.
Yeah, yeah. I think Bellingham going in there, um, it was a whole different dynamic because he isn't just a box to box, he's also a creative player. He's also a player who is excellent at long range shooting. His movement is that of a natural number nine. He plays the false nine well. He knows when to be selfish and when not to. He also holds up the play and brings in players like he brought in players like Shaw and them and made those fellas and them. So what I'm saying is with him, his natural dynamic is it's improbable. Once he is on the field, all the players on the team become very much a problem in any play going forward. So at least I mean to say we could say that Iran kind of gave them a lot of space to play in, and he had a lot of room to start and make his runs, and we could say all that. But he did it by Borussia Dortmund against plenty different teams, so it's not no fluke. So it'll be interesting to see. Um, well, they carry Calvin Phillips injured, so I mean to justify that, it'll be interesting to see whether or not they're going to risk playing him. Which for me don't make sense because he's
He should
never
not
going to
be.
get to
He
any
should not be.
fitness to compete.
Yeah, he should
Yeah,
not be on the plane in the first place.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then
That was
and
crazy.
then Henderson. Anyway,
Yeah, you know what the
it
legs again. He like the English Busquets.
yeah, it just don't make any sense. But anyway, moving along. Group C, we saw Argentina, the first big scalp
Oh
to be
yeah.
skinned by Saudi Arabia.
Mhm.
2-1. Messi with a penalty in the first half, and Saudi Arabia scoring through. I hope I could pronounce these fellas' names and I'm going brave. Shal Al Shari and Salim Al Dosari.
Mhm.
I sure that second name I massacred, but I mean nobody from Saudi Arabia ain't watching, so they give them a pass on that one. Right? There were a lot of very close calls, a lot of very close offside calls for,
Yeah.
for, for Argentina. I saw a meme where people was joking that Cristiano Ronaldo was in the VAR boot. That is why that is why Messi Argentina was struggling like that. But the thing that impressed me most about our game is the coach of Saudi Arabia. He
Mhm.
played a high risk, high reward game
Yep.
to play such a high line against Argentina. is very brave
Yep.
because you have Di Maria, you have Messi, and there's at least one other player inside of there who can pick those true balls. And you
Yeah.
have a young striker in the striker from Manchester City who doesn't need a yard like the
That's
likes
right.
of maybe a Cristiano Ronaldo or some older striker. So he is normally running from an onside position. He don't need to be literally on the edge, you understand?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you just never found the pass whole game
Yep.
because that high line, it compressed the field. So the field was always narrow. When he was looking at them, Messi right, everybody compressed. So it helped them defensively. And because that true ball was just never perfect, it needed to be perfect. Because the true
Yeah.
ball was never perfect, Argentina. Because let me tell you something. If Saudi Arabia play Brazil that way, if they play England that way, they will get 10.
Mm-hmm.
Because those two teams have runners. You play the
Yeah.
highlight against those teams, you will get licks.
Yeah.
However, against almost anybody else, they have a good chance. I was impressed. I was impressed with the technical aspect of the game.
Yeah. For me, he has always been brilliant. He did it in this is a serious template that he has mastered. He did this with Zambia, who nobody really ranked as any kind of football team. He did it in 2012 with them and won the African Cup of Nations, the same high line, high press thing. He did it with Ivory Coast as well, which is not testament to Ivory Coast football neither.
True.
But the guy has just mastered the old style offside trap. Like he gets his players to hold that line. There's nothing
And
like
they're very
no
disciplined.
one
Eh?
player hold
That
you on.
goalkeeper,
Everybody hold that line.
yeah, they're very disciplined. You could draw a line across the
Mm-hmm.
back line. They step up in
Yeah,
line,
yeah, yeah. Straight.
and that goalkeeper knows, he understands when that true ball come. He have to go out
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
The
yeah.
team
Yeah.
keeping a high line. He is come like the last
Yep.
stopper. You know, in terms of a well drilled team, out of all everybody has played so far, and the team to
Yeah.
me that was the most disciplined. No, it had a lot of good teams, but the team that was the most disciplined was Saudi Arabia in my book.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. For me as well. They and Tunisia were really impressive too. I think for my concern for Saudi Arabia now, El Shenwari, that's the defender who got injured. He has always been one of their main players, one of their starlets, and from the feedback and the things coming out, well, I think he's been flown out. What
Yeah,
country they
yeah, I
flew
think
him
he have
to?
a fractured skull or something, so we're not
Yeah, a
expecting him
fractured
to.
thing in his face
We're
and
not
all kind of thing, and internal
expecting him to
bleeding.
come back.
So yeah, so that is definitely a big blow because he's a major part of their pressing game. So it'll be interesting to see how they would maneuver things like that. But I would like to say that Argentina kind of shocked me. Now I saw some things in it that made me have my doubts. Why everybody? I know a lot of people. Argentina is the number one favorite to win the World Cup because a lot of people want Messi to win it on his last World Cup, right?
Well,
So
that
it
is the
wasn't
only
really based
reason
on
because
yeah,
they want Messi to win it.
yeah. Because talent wise, if you're being real honest and watching the teams, I don't see any reason to have Argentina as such a favorite. I really don't. But it's really because a lot of people would love to see that fairy tale ending. However, that aside, I was never part of that bandwagon because I said it once, I said it twice, I said it 23 times. Lionel Messi's strength, which is his selflessness, is also his weakness. And I will always say he doesn't have that in his brain to know when to say, this is my game and I go and take it over. And he has the habit of, he will have players that he could, opportunities where he could take on players, obviously pass them and finish. And he doesn't do it. And for me, Argentina will continue to suffer that way because when you need him to take over and to be like, this is Messi's time, Messi just isn't going to do that. Caption with that now, or paired with that, I need somebody, like I think I need to go on Google or probably on the Alexa app from Amazon to really ask Alexa, why does a player as fast as Lautaro Martinez play directly on the shoulder of slower defenders? And I would love to hear what Google or Alexa would tell me because it makes no sense. You don't need to be on the shoulder of these players because you know the ball is going to come. And on the distance play, you are going to outrun them. Chances are you are going to win a penalty or they're going to hold off or zone you. And one-on-one, you have the skills and you have players coming in. How could you tell me for an entire game you are going to lean and play on the shoulders to run through? That baffled me for the entire game because should he have checked his run, that alone would have nullified the offside trap. And if the offside trap had played any higher than where it played, which was excellent, but any higher or tighter, it would have created the opportunity for what Messi and Lautaro Martinez and Di Maria are known for, the killer 1-2. Anytime they had congested it anymore, they would have had the opportunity to play that 1-2 bounce with anyone, whoever do the first pass. They would have got to get a little angle to run through, and that 1-2 would have killed them off. But Lautaro Martinez kept playing on the shoulder, which made no sense. It made no sense. You realize that this team, all right, they are not no super team, but it's you realize, all right, 20 minutes in, 30 minutes in, 40 minutes in, 60 minutes in. This team is it's not luck and chance. This is a disciplined team. You are not going to be there offside trap just like that. So take yourself aback. You realize when you're running with them, you're outrunning them because you outrun them and score, you outrun them and do this again. Sit off of it and stop panicking and trying to beat the line. And for me, I think against against whoever their next game is, they're going to have work to do, because I am sure the strikers from the other teams in that group probably have their players running up mountains right now just to get his feet to realize, look, we're not playing close to the shoulder because we're going to get a million offsides. Just get ready to run. And when you run, you're going to get you and the keepers a one-on-one for sure. But kudos to Aldo Sori, I think that is his name, or Dorashi. Listen to me. He had a chance in the first half where he did it's like a mirror image of this twice. A mirror image of the same play where he has skill. He did the same dribble, but they managed to block down the shot. I think what happened was the ball bubbled up kind of like, and then he got control of it, and they had 3 players on him. And I really I didn't expect it. I don't think anyone expected him to dribble out of that situation. And already with the pendulum swinging with the equalizer just happening, he just rode that momentum. And the finish for me, here where I read the finish, is not just the strike, It was not traditional curler, Like when he hit the ball turned late, that was one. But for me, from someone who played football before, to get that much power on a curling shot that is already behind you, I don't think any goalkeeper in the world would be prepared or expecting that. Nobody's expecting a curling shot from that angle with the ball slightly behind you to come with that type of pace. And you could see Martinez literally he was going lateral because he realized the ball was traveling, coming. So he was literally just going with his hands extended, hoping for a fingertip to extend. But then the ball started turning late. So he literally couldn't even adjust. So it was a brilliant goal, but am I carried away with them beating Argentina? No, because history shows it that when any team draws a scalp against a big team, all the other teams in the World Cup focus on you as a big team, and then they start to maul you. You start to get kind of 4-0 and 5-0 because nobody's taking chances with you. So let's see if Saudi Arabia is able to maintain the tenacity that they did without their injured star, and with other teams seeing that they are adamant they are going to play the high press. So let's see how it works out for them.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. You expect Argentina to come out of the group?
Yeah. I think Argentina will more than come out of the group. Argentina coming out of the group, though, I think it's paramount, not even so much on Messi. I think it's going to come about from the standpoint of whether or not they are going to utilize Tagliafico more, that's their wing back, as opposed to going to Di Maria. Everybody, I think the team was set and understood that Di Maria, he's very tricky, he's very cunning, he's quick, but he's light. So I think the team was well prepared to isolate on him, to allow him to dribble a bit. And when he's getting them one-on-one situations, they just stay close enough and they know he's going to try the shimmy. just stay on your toes, and when he goes forward, they just apply the pressure. Tagliafico is the wing back who overlaps and does so well and delivers brilliant balls for the Argentines to develop on. He was underutilized in that game fully. They tried to play it on the middle and on Di Maria's side, so it'll be interesting to see if if he is utilized more. Definitely, Argentina is going to come out of the group. But if they keep playing that one-sided football and down the middle, whew, I think we could see a shocker with them going home early. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. I think it's muted a little bit, I think.
Oh, sorry
Yeah.
about that. Yeah, Mexico and Poland are the other teams in that group. They played out a 0-0 draw. Lewandowski playing for Poland. Is it that he missed a penalty?
Yeah, he did.
Right? He
Yeah.
missed a penalty. And apart from that, the truth be told, he is just not going to get the service because the rest of the Polish team is just really not that good.
Yep, true.
They may be good at holding on to the ball and kicking it around, but when it comes to that final pass, he's
They
going
don't
to
have it.
struggle. I've
Yep.
seen Poland play many times, and it is always the same story. It doesn't matter how great your striker is, if he's not going to get the ball,
It doesn't matter.
it don't matter. So let's see what Mexico could do. They have 1 point. Saudi Arabia has 3. Mexico and Poland tied with 1, and Argentina after one game on the bottom of that group with a big fat 0. Group D. Denmark, Tunisia, another 0-0 draw, which I think makes that group fairly open in terms of
Yeah.
who's going to finish second. France coming from behind, Australia scoring first, and France coming back. They went in halftime 2-0 up, and then they came out in the second half and finished off Australia. Final score 4-1. The man who had won a World Cup playing as a striker, starting every game and not scoring one, Olivier Giroud, has 2 goals in this World Cup. He won the whole World Cup, went home with the trophy, didn't score a goal, played in every game as a striker, didn't score. This World Cup comes and the man has 2 goals.
Yep.
I guess, justifying his spot, because I wouldn't lie, when I saw the lineup, I was like, why we taking Giroud? What's going on with France?
Yeah.
Giroud proved me wrong, right? Like, yeah.
I'm glad that they actually use Giroud. For me, I had when the World Cup was happening and coming down to the World Cup, after I saw the list of the final 26 and all the injuries that had happened and stuff, I had France as my new favorites. Because I think France got a blessing in disguise. I think the players that got injured for France, that was a blessing in disguise, to the extent of we saw when France started to struggle in the Euros and in the Nations League. That's when Kante was fit. That teams playing France, every team that played France played either counter-attacking football or they changed their style to play wide football because no one was taking a chance to go down the middle because N'Golo Kante was going to nullify him. I think with him being out now, it allowed us to see how, and he for me was one of the most brilliant players in the game. Chouameni from the youth man from Real Madrid. He was as solid as the Great Wall. He barely made a wrong step in the game.
I personally believe that is the reason that Real Madrid allowed Casemiro to leave and go to Manchester United.
Yeah, that youth man is solidly on.
They looked at Tchouameni and who's the other guy they bought?
Camavinga,
and they told themselves, we have 2 young men here that could handle the business. As much as they're young and they could still improve, they could handle the business. And Real Madrid obviously felt comfortable letting Casemiro go. Not because Casemiro had lost a step or anything, but just because you don't want to prevent the young men from getting playing time. Because no one is 2.
Yeah.
You understand? And both of those guys on this French team.
Yeah. So I think because France came into this World Cup obviously as defending champions, so they were under pressure. I think the only teams under more pressure than them were, I want to say Argentina, but I wouldn't even say Argentina, right? But I'll say Brazil and England. England, because England has a team, and yes, he didn't pick all the players, but people believe that they have come so close with
The,
the
the,
Euros, and
the,
when they
English,
watch the
the
team,
English media will always put the English team under
yeah,
pressure,
so they're under pressure
regardless.
with that to deliver. And then, well, everybody know what Brazil. They expect Brazil to run away this World Cup, so they came with extra pressure. And then France came with pressure as the defending champions, and then with the deepest roster in the whole of the World Cup. Um, so that definitely played a part into Australia stunning them with the early goal. Definitely, they were a bit shaken up by it. I think what happened was Australia didn't expect France to respond as well as they did. They probably thought France would have become shell shocked, but the complete opposite happened. And why I was so impressed with Chouameni and why I keep mentioning him, Australia has always been known as a real kind of, these guys are battalions. They are
A
hyper
kind of
physical,
boogie,
especially in the middle.
yeah, a kind of boogie team
So,
in the World Cup.
yeah. So it's kind of like I began to get worried because I was saying I wonder if this youth man could really handle that level of intensity for a whole game. And they were applying the pressure, but he played so brilliant. He didn't try anything spectacular. He just did his role. He held up the ball when he had to. He put himself between ball and man and won the falls when he had to. He just did everything right. And that created the team to play on a fair balance and allow the other players to be brilliant. Anton Griezmann has to get some credit because his movement of the ball was exceptional. Dembele had a brilliant game, but then for me again, should he had a Dembele is notorious for dribbling past a player. You know who he reminds me of, and it kind of annoys me. The Nielsen from Brazil. I don't know if it's that he needs a beat you so he can get a smile. Like he's going to pass you, and Usman Dembele he's going to stop and start to jockey the ball to beat you again. But why? And when you realize with the other players now, where the service was coming in from the other side, I mean, he was brilliant. He was instrumental in some, but whoo, I think against other teams he would thrive. He cannot do that against Denmark. He definitely cannot do that against Denmark because the Danes, they are not the Socceroos. And they need to keep that in their mind when they are going forward because if he holds on to that ball too long, it may not have shown up in Denmark's first game, but it's going to cost France sooner or later in the tournament. So he needs to work on his earlier deliveries. But Olivier Giroud, whew, Johnny on the spot, target man,
Hmm.
clinical. The guy, that was just the guy. He was the guy. And well, we
Mr.
know
Lucky,
Mbappe was
yes.
going to show up anyhow. He finally got his limelight out of Messi's shadow because Messi don't play in France. So he was happy like Papi doing his thing out there. So he had a fun day too. France looked really, really, really impressive. I love the resilience because they had to come from behind. But it'll be interesting to see how France and Denmark plays out because Denmark has the psychological edge on them, especially in recent times. So that is going to be an interesting game.
Yes, indeed. Denmark and Tunisia played to a 0-0 draw, so we're not even going to be talking about that game at
Yeah.
all. Nothing to talk about here. Right? Australia bottom of the group, France top of the group, Denmark and Tunisia 1 point each. Group E, Germany, Japan, Spain,
Oh,
and Croatia.
yes.
Spain beat the CONCACAF team like it was the child, and they caught them teeth in sugar and milk. Relics 7-0. I would not lie, Spain to some extent, like England, looked probably a little better than they were or than they
Yep.
are. But you could only beat the teams that are in front of you. And
Yeah.
definitely Costa Rica, they beat them. They started scoring early in the 11th minute with Danny Ullman. Then Asensio came in with the second goal. Fernand Torres, who had two, a penalty, and another goal in the second half. Gavi, so a young player that a lot of people have a lot
Yeah.
of faith in. They're looking for some great things from that youth. Carlos Solar, and then Alvaro Morata.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what to say about Morata. Morata is one of those guys who clearly is unbelievably talented.
Yep.
Clearly. He's clinical, but he's just very unlucky
Yeah.
for club
He
and
is
country.
he's the Spanish Higuain. Could say it like that.
Yeah,
He really is.
yeah. So Spain beat up Costa Rica, as I said, like it was a child. But the interesting game in that group so far is Germany, Japan.
Whew.
Because Japan, and you know what is just the coincidence of it all. Japan beat Germany 2-1, just like Arabia, Saudi Arabia versus Argentina.
Yep.
And it was the same way.
Yeah.
Halftime, Germany was up 1-0 because of a penalty.
Mm-hmm.
And the second half, Japan came out and just run at them,
Yeah.
played with a lot of high energy. They weren't as they were technically good, but they weren't as good. And
Mm-hmm.
where they seemed to take it up a notch in the second half, Germany that created so many chances in the first half
Yep.
seemed to have lost a step in the second half. And Japan was able to overcome and win the game.
Yep.
Almost identical to the Saudi Arabia um, Argentina game. Germany obviously played with their food in the first half.
Yep.
Germany should have put the game away. They
Yep.
didn't. They gave Japan life. The big question is Japan on 3 points, Spain on 3 points. I can see if Japan play the same way they play against Germany, that Japan would beat Costa Rica,
Yep.
which would put them on 6 points.
Mm-hmm. And then Germany is in a must-win position if that happens.
So Germany have to beat Spain,
Mm-hmm.
which is who they play next in the group, right?
Yep.
Germany have to beat Spain. How do you see that game turning out? Who do you
All right.
think
So so
is going to come out of that
so
group?
so before the World Cup started, when I saw the group, the team I was most concerned about in the group for Germany, I support Germany. It was actually Japan. For two reasons. For the coach that we has, because the mentality of him is different. It's more kind of a friendly kind of vibe with the players. So the players don't have the mentality like what they had on Joachim Low. Under Joachim Love, there's no room for playing with your food. Joachim Löw is really old school Germany. So Joachim Löw is like, you get a chance to score 13, you better score 13. Otherwise, it's going to be tough. You're up 7-0 and you miss a chance, and he is upset that he didn't take the A chance. Um, Under our coach now, he's kind of just cool and clapping from the sidelines, which is not what we are accustomed to. We play to our food, but we always struggle with teams that make the right decisions most of the times, and that is Asian teams for the most part. And Japan, especially in the attacking third, they have always been notorious of making the right pass or making the right decisions. And we toyed with them the second half. I don't think it's that we lost a step necessarily so much, but it definitely was. We became complacent and thought, well, we'd just ride out the wave. But you just cannot do that with a team like Japan. Japan is not an underdog team. Japan is one of Asians, if not the Asian giants. You have to take that team serious. Um, we had chances galore in the first half. Germany didn't take them, took the one penalty, which was kind of embarrassing. But we were getting warning signs from Japan as well, because we were losing throughout the whole game. And if anyone watching this show as well, you could watch over the game. And I was actually embarrassed to say, because I was telling someone before, I say, yeah, we were up one, and I say we on top. I say, but we are not the better team. We are losing in the midfield. Germany never loses in the midfield. And I was like, how could other people be right around me? We are watching the game. I don't know which Germany they were supporting. Clearly not mine, because I was sweating a long time. And I'm like, we are losing the midfield battle. We up 1-0 and throw away so many chances, and everybody is happy-go-lucky. And I am here petrified, because I'm like, listen to me.
Yeah,
Anytime
that
Japan
that is
gets
how
the
I felt.
opportunity,
That is how I felt watching the second half as well,
yeah,
because you're watching the game and Japan was looking like the team in the ascendancy.
That's right. They were the better team. And we couldn't catch ourselves. Though we were tinging, showboating, trying to think and see out the game, but we were not. You see out a game when you are dominating the game. If you are not dominating the game and you have a lead, you see out the game with intensity. You don't laser fire and rest back. And that even leaves more to see if the psychologist has to get involved with the team because I don't want to believe that they thought that they were on top, which would mean that something wrong. The players probably mad or something. I think the thing that we were already going, oh, I watching the game. So if they thought that they were on top, well, something really wrong with the team, and I think they need to have a serious counseling session and get these guys to start to explain how they feel and what they see. But they weren't seeing what we were seeing. Definitely, I think Japan left. They took too long because in the second half they should have started boring us earlier than that. I think what started happening is that they were taking the avenue of trying to penetrate down through the middle. What I credit Japan for is when they realized that they had Germany for legs, because for most of the time they were dominating the midfield and they tried to stretch Germany. But that wasn't working as much, but they were still in the ascendancy. I think when they got a chance, they got one chance where they played the ball more or less a direct ball, and he left out our defender. And from that point on, Japan's game plan it changed in a bit, and it was all about we already dominating the midfield, and they make great decisions with their passing. So it literally was we are and let's take them on for pace. And what a nightmare we had dealing with that. Coming up against Spain, I actually had it, but I don't want to talk too much about the seven. But personally, Spain seven wasn't as impressive as France's four for me. I mean, seven is a lot, eh? But for me, Spain came
Yeah,
in the
but
tournament with
and
no pressure.
that's
They
why
really
I asked.
looked well, but Costa Rica allowed them
That's
to
why.
look well.
Yes, correct. And that's why I asked the question. If Germany have to beat Spain. Spain is going to play the same way they
Yeah.
usually play. And for anybody who watches Spain,
Mm-hmm.
we know how that is. A lot of passing, a lot of movement, a lot of runs into the box, using the width. That Spain's
Yep.
going to do what Spain does. If Germany play the way they play against Japan, they're going to get licks. Do you think Germany could bounce
Oh,
back
yeah, we're gonna
and
get
beat
about
Spain?
five. We'll get five comfortable. Five least if we play anyway, like how we played against Japan. I'm expecting in that game for the main player in that game, or the main players, if I should say, um, to be definitely Leon Goretzka. Because Spain struggles. Why I'm so comfortable against Spain? Spain naturally struggles against, similar to Barcelona as well. They struggle against physicality because of the rhythm and the style of their play. So normally when they have physical players and to break that rhythm, that frustrates them, and they try to change their brand and they aren't as efficient, which is what Germany normally is. They are naturally physical, so it's a natural counter to Spain. The problem is that Germany is also a very scientific team, probably the only one remaining. So we normally allow teams to have the ball to read how they play, and when we find out how they play, they find the weakness and they attack their right through. The downside to that is that when you give Spain the ball, Spain never gives you back. So that and all is our next problem that we had to sort out. But we should beat Spain. I can see Germany edging Spain, not beating them. Um, Costa Rica was disappointing for me. Borges, he is such a phenomenal talent. I watched him play over and over, and I love this guy. And I don't know what happened against the game in Spain, if they was starstruck, if the pressure was too much. Costa Rica really didn't look good. Japan is going to go into that game as heavy favorites, expecting to, whenever Japan play or Japan plays, Japan is always going to be problems. But we haven't seen, I don't think Costa Rica played their first match yet. The game against Spain was humiliating, but Costa Rica really allowed Spain to play that way. They were horrible. Costa Rica cannot have two games like this. So I'm expecting to see a different Costa Rica. I'm expecting to see Campbell, when he gets the ball, and he's going to take on people more. We are going to see a different Costa Rica for sure. a more risk-taking Costa Rica. So would they concede goals? Possibly yes, because they have to open up and go for goals. But that game is more or less in a balance. Personally, when I saw the group and everything, I love my Germans. I'm a German fan. I had predicted that Japan and Spain would have come out of the group, but I'm a German, but I was predicted honestly. Um, my prediction probably still leaning that way. Um, I'll hope for better. But my prediction still really is Spain top in the
Well,
group. And I really believe
I
Japan
support
would come
Germany.
second. They've shown that they could be solid throughout, even when going behind. And that for me, I have to, as much as I love Germany, I will always back them. But I have to put Japan with the edge to go through with Spain. Honestly.
I I support Germany as well. And coming into this World Cup, I didn't have any expectations.
Yeah, yeah,
My expectation, let me rephrase that. My expectations was very low for Germany. There are
yeah,
times when I know Germany is going to come and do something. And in preparation for this World Cup, they just wasn't impressing me. They wasn't clicking.
yeah, yeah,
So I really wasn't surprised. And as a result, and this is not the first time Japan has beaten Germany in a World Cup.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
actually the second time.
yeah.
So so for me, I wasn't like, you know, disenchanted or really upset
Yeah.
because my expectations were already very low for Germany. So we'll see how that goes.
But
Group F,
Spain is going to have a problem that Japan didn't have. Sorry to butt in. Remember too, the day before this match, we lost Leroy Sané for this game, who definitely is our impact player. He didn't play this game, and obviously, if he was there, he's more clinical. Spain is not going to face the same Germany, because Leroy Sané is an accelerator of offense, and he's a multifaceted type of player in terms of finishing. He doesn't have to get in the box to finish, and his movement and his confidence is out of this world. When he is back and facing Spain, Spain is going to have a problem that they will not be able to handle. And definitely with him, people say it's just one player. If Leroy Sané is not fit against Spain, it could be the end of our World Cup. But if Leroy Sané is there, I'm confident and comfortable that we will edge Spain. I really am. So it's down to him being fit.
I hope that we do. I hope Germany gets the job done,
Yeah.
especially because, you know, after Spain scored seven and you lose to Japan, they look at Germany as an underdog.
Yep.
And that is when you really want your team to come out and perform.
Yeah. Yeah.
Group F has Morocco and Croatia. No draw. Croatia went very deep in the last World Cup. Morocco doesn't really have any World Cup pedigree, but a
Yeah.
decent enough team. Belgium without Lukaku due to injury played Canada, and Alfonso Davies, boy.
Yeah, boy. Oh gosh. Oh my goodness.
Canada getting a penalty in the first half, early in the first half, and Alfonso Davies went to place the ball, knowing that you're going against a top keeper
Yep.
that is unbelievably
Yeah.
tall and long wingspan in Courtois, and Courtois end up saving the penalty. Next time, if he takes a penalty, if they get another penalty, I hope he goes for power, and put, yes, you want to put it in the sticks, but oh gosh, you need to know your goalkeepers, right? You need to know your goalkeepers.
Yeah. For me, it was surprising because I mean, I followed with more intensity at this in the World Cup qualifying for this World Cup. I've been following Canada. One of my real close friends I went to school with, his family is actually Atiba Hutchinson, who plays for Canada and who plays away when he was at Hamburg and stuff. So, because of that, I would always try to look in at Canada because that's, my partner family. But since I'm watching Canada, I was surprised when I saw the penalty. They awarded a penalty. I was excited because I know Buchanan is their penalty taker. He is supreme at penalties. So I was like, "Woo, Buchanan! This World Cup, Buchanan go in and take it." I was a bit surprised when Davies took the responsibilities. I mean, you wouldn't fight it, right? Because it's Davies, and Davies has been known when they see him take any penalty with Bayern Munich. he hits a very clean, powerful penalty. So I was like, well, okay, well, if he come in there, you're going to blast in at 1-0. Um, as you rightfully said, let's just go with the fact that Thibaut Courtois has one of the highest reputations of guessing right. Let us just go with that point alone. Let's take everything else out of the equation. You know you are going against. Let me even take his size out of the equation because Campos is short goalkeeper from Mexico. Um, Ricardo, who was also short from Portugal. These guys had a reputation where they are going to choose right. Anytime you are going against a goalkeeper who chooses right, there's no way in the world you are going to tell me that you are going to take the risk. It becomes a risk. You cannot take the chance to try to place a penalty because this person, it is almost like a 90% chance he's going to guess right. And if he guesses right, if you don't have the power on the ball, he is going to save it. Second to that, I have never seen Alfonso Davies place a penalty before. It's the first time I've ever seen him going for placement. So I'm like, what happened in his mind? What went through his mind with what he did? Is it that he saw Lionel Messi place his penalty cool on the ground and was like, well, well, I'll try to be in that fashion? It made no
I think I
sense.
think the World Cup is a big stage, and where some people thrive,
Oh, that's
some
all.
people wilt, and and
Yeah,
and clearly the the environment, the event, the spotlights was a little too bright for him, but hopefully he comes out better for it.
yep,
Um, Michi Batshuayi scored for Belgium,
that's the guy.
1-0. Uh, I think this group is very open because I
Yeah, it
think
is.
Croatia and Canada still have a fairly good opportunity. So that Croatia Canada game is going to be the key game
Yep.
for this group because I expect Belgium to beat
Yeah, yeah.
Morocco.
I as well.
They could struggle against Croatia, but they're going to beat Morocco, so they're going to definitely be top of the group. So that Canada Croatia game is really the game that's going to decide
Yeah.
that group.
And I
Uh,
think Belgium has to be careful as well because Morocco, I think what Morocco showed is that Morocco has, whew, when we're talking about individually skillful players, I think it's only possibly Brazil I have seen in all the games that played so far that have more players. So I think who have more. Morocco's players are insanely skillful. But when you put them as a team, their their team chemistry is so low. It is low. It's lower than my math scores I used to get in Form 2. It is embarrassingly low. So it's almost like the problem with that could be for Belgium is that Belgium has all their defenders has always, especially for Tongan, struggled against individual talents.
Yeah, because they
So
never pass. They never
yeah,
pass, and
yeah,
that ability to
never
change
quick,
direction is
never
not
never
good.
quick.
Now
So
they read the game well. They tall,
mhm,
they're good in the air, they're strong, they're powerful, but they're not quick. And if you change
yeah,
direction on them quickly, it could catch them
it's
up.
problems. It's problems. But I think I just say I agree with you. I think Belgium has way too much star power in their team, and I think they have more experience as well on the big stage too, which would calm their nerves. I think Morocco would take a little while, just as the first game, even though their first game is out the window. They would take a while to adjust again because they're up against Belgium, so there's more nerves. They'll take a while to settle in, and I think the while they will take to settle in, I think while they're settling in, Belgium will hit them and don't allow them to settle in. I think that could happen. Um, Canada, Croatia, I honestly seeing Canada have a big chance,
Yeah,
I honestly seen Canada have a big chance, boy. If Canada
I,
played how
I
they
think
played in their first game,
I think they have a good chance. So that's the
they
game
do.
for me. That's the game that really going to decide that group.
Yeah, 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 yeah. For sure, sure, sure.
Yeah. So Group F, you have Uruguay, South Korea, 0-0 draw, Portugal, Ghana. Portugal taking it. Cristiano Ronaldo scoring from a penalty um in the first half. No, sorry,
Whew.
in the second half. First half was 0-0. Right? Cristiano
Yeah,
Ronaldo scoring from a penalty that he himself earned. Um Andre Ayew scored for Ghana, 1-1. João Felix, a wonderful pass from
Oh
Bruno
yeah, yeah,
Fernandes, but the
yeah.
finish from João Felix was top notch.
Yep,
And then they went 3-1 up when Rafaelio literally just run on the pitch.
yep, yep.
Literally just got
Was a
substituted.
Milano.
You understand? Literally now run on the pitch. Again, another good ball from Bruno Fernandes with the assist. And it was 3-1.
Yep,
That wasn't it. Ghana scored one more goal. Usman Bukari scoring for Ghana. Ghana looked dangerous. They had an
yeah,
opportunity for a third with a bit of trickery
yeah,
that I don't know if it's just the individual or if that was something that was planned. Portugal, the goalkeeper had the ball in his hand. The Ghanaian player was way behind him,
yeah,
almost in the goal. So like nothing to look at here. I don't think the goalkeeper was even aware that he was
yeah,
behind him because he must be told himself, yeah, well, he not seeing any guy, no other Ghanaian players was around. Put the ball on the ground. The Ghanaian player just came around, took it, and I
yeah,
think he just wasn't fast enough.
yeah,
Portugal was
yeah.
able to scramble and get it back. But that would have been a hell of a goal. Boy.
Of
If that
course,
had come off, that would have
of
been a hell of
course,
a goal.
of
But the
course.
final is 3-2. Um, Uruguay has World Cup pedigree. We know this. South Korea, after Japan, or I should say with Japan, are some of the harder teams from Asia to
Yeah,
beat. So I think this group is still very open because as much as Portugal won 3-2, Cristiano Ronaldo didn't look very convincing today.
no, 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 no.
And clearly Portugal going to need to play around Ronaldo and not through Ronaldo if they intend to get results
Yeah,
in this
I
group.
think we had
They
on
have the
one of
players to
our,
do it. They
yeah.
have the players to do it, but that's what they need to do. And
I
Ghana
think we talked on
is
our
no
earlier
slouch
show,
as well.
right? And one of the things we said, I think that was earlier. That was one in the Premier League show, where I would have made mention to you pertaining to this guy Bruno Fernandes. And for me, I think the pressure and all the things surrounding Ronaldo comes at a perfect time for Portugal, actually. Because I did make mention and brought it up because I've been following him for so long since Sporting Lisbon and all these things. The Portuguese youth team that once he feels like he is the main star in a team, and it's proven true after this game today. Like once the limelight is on him, Ronaldo is not the star. He's under so much criticism and stuff like that. And the Bruno Fernandes we have seen here today is the Bruno Fernandes that so many Manchester United fans and fantasy Premier League players have been begging for. Where has this guy been? And what is happening here? To be very honest, he is a player that has been he's notorious for riding momentum. He's not a player that plays kind of good in a tournament and when the tournament done and he go back to something else. No, he is one of them that carries across momentum. So he is going. If he continues this, he's going to have a really good World Cup, and that's fine. But then after this, Manchester United is going to be a very dangerous team because he is going to be dangerous for Manchester United. That's just how he works. I don't know why it is with him, but that's just how it goes with him.
Yeah, when he on, he
He's
real
on
on.
for a while. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's on for
that's
a
the
while.
kind of
So I
player
think
Bruno Fernandes is.
he probably everybody, Manchester United fans, Portuguese fans, they should just run up and hug Piers Morgan because he definitely helped Bruno Fernandes there. You brought it up. How many players in the world? No, we're not saying attempting it. How many of them are going to see that pass to pass for João Felix that he passed? How many are going to see it? And then how many are going to attempt it? And then how many are going to
Execute.
execute it
Yeah.
to that extent? Listen to me. Ghana's defense today impressed me because of the speed of their defenders. And when every time I see the replay, I'm speaking and my pulse is raising. Every time I rewatch the replay, for that pass to be as perfect, you know how perfect that pass really have to be for these defenders to be shredding back and you beat the pace of these. Listen to me, that is magic. And some
Inch
people
perfect.
watch it and might like think and well, it's just, no, that pass is golden. For me, that is one of the contenders for goal of the tournament in terms of the entirety of the pass and the finish. Because the finish was really, really composed, really composed. But that pass, boy, I had to rate that pass real high. That was genius.
Yeah. So Portugal, I mean, the truth is a fairly easy group. Portugal should be out of it.
Yeah.
Um, let's jump to the final group. Switzerland, Cameroon. Switzerland won 1-0.
Yep.
Um, nothing really to talk about in that
Yeah.
game, right? So we'll just move along. Brazil, Serbia.
Oh yeah.
Serbia looked good. Their last ditch defending was
Yeah.
excellent.
Yeah.
There
Yeah.
were a
Yeah.
lot of times Brazil had the ball and you was just waiting to see the ball hit the back of the net,
Mhm.
and the defender swooped in there like, oops,
Yeah.
nope, not here.
Yeah.
But eventually, um, Richard Erickson with a double today broke Serbia's resolve. He scored in the 62nd minute, and that second goal in the
Oh yeah.
73rd minute.
Oh yeah.
Right now, I
Oh
think is
yes.
leading as the
Yeah,
goal
for sure.
of
For
the
sure.
tournament. For
For sure.
anybody
Sure.
who did not see Brazil play Serbia, he got a cross from Vicinhos Jr. and he mistimed the ball. He mistrapped it. He was trying
Mm-hmm.
to trap the ball to shoot. He ended up mistiming the ball, and instead of locking the ball down by his feet, the ball ended up bubbling up in the air. And when the ball hit his foot and bubble up in the air, he was like, you know what? The way these Serbians playing, if I let this ball come back down, the defender going
Yeah,
to
you will
clear him
not
up.
keep it.
Because that is exactly what has been going on all game. The Serbians have been very
Mm-hmm.
quick to that final ball. So Richard Erickson decided, yeah, I go in and jump up in the air and try a volley. And boy, did he get it.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Boy,
Perfect.
did that volley come off. So it looked like he kicked the ball up and then jump and kick it, right? It looked real good. But
Yeah.
I'm telling
Yeah.
you, he mistrapped the ball.
Yeah.
That wasn't his intention. And you watch the replay, he mistrapped the ball, but the end
Yeah.
result was something spectacular.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And
He
Brazil
really,
won.
really, really improvised well. And
Yeah.
I was telling somebody that after the game finished, one of our partners who's a Brazil fans, he messaged me and he real hype up. But for me, I really rate that goal. I think the entirety of the goal, he did mistrap it, and the improvisation and the execution was. I don't think anybody in the world expected that. Um, Coupled with that, though, he literally had the man had so much space. He could have planted corn, peas, bygone. The man had so much space, and I was like,
Well,
I
that
think
that
they
is the,
were.
that is the quality of the pass too,
Yeah, yeah,
because
yeah,
even
yeah,
though he had space when the ball first came to him, he knew if he let that ball fall,
hmm
the Serbian defender would have climbed up. So
yeah,
he got
and
it in space, but the Serbians were quick. They were quick.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that makes the that made the play even more genius. Because I think the Serbians were expecting him to try to bring it down, which is what they were doing the entire game, right? So they were anytime he had brought it down, they were in position to clamp him. But the genius of thinking about that and much more executing it. Whew. But I was surprised. And here why I was surprised. I really expected against Brazil in particular um, that they would have used Vlahovic. They would have started him as opposed to Mitrovic, even though Mitrovic is their star player. But starting Mitrovic against Thiago Silva in the back, it really doesn't make much sense because Thiago Silva does that. He nullifies target men. It doesn't matter how big. Thiago Silva nullified Jan Venegov Hesseling. I wonder if anybody remember that guy. And he was a giant. He also nullified Jan Kola. I mean, some of the younger people may not know him, but he was a giant from Czech Republic too, who was bullying everybody. But Thiago Silva nullifies these guys. That's his strength. I was expecting Vlahovic to start because he's really quick, he's really confident, he's really tricky. I thought he would have definitely given a lot more problem, especially in the early parts of the game to Brazil, have the defenders on the toes a little more. And then probably later in the second half, you could put on Mitrovic, who is killer in the air. So when the defenders kind of in two minds, with his movements, you could take a chance and let Tadic and then whip the ball in. And with his movement, you may get a chance for him to get his head on the ball, which normally is devastating for any defending team. I think their strategy was off today. Their strategy was to go to allow the players to play the football that they normally play, which is good, and then try to whip the balls across to Mitrovic. Brazil really didn't allow it. And then Tadic wasn't allowed to, he wasn't able to get involved in the game in terms of his attacking prowess as much because he had to be way too calculated with every pass that he does because every time they lost the ball, Brazil started a counter attack. So I think it forced Serbia over and over to become overly meticulous to try to pick the perfect pass all the time. And players like Tadic and they who are hyper creative, they became more safer and safer as the game went on. And I think that is where Brazil would have win the game anyhow. When I watch the flow of the game, eventually they would have. But I think Serbia had a goal in them. They had a goal in them if Vlahovic had started. I really think they had a goal if he started.
One of the things I observe with this team, this Brazil team, which to me is what makes them so scary, is that this team actually, when they made their five subs, right? When they took off Neymar, took off VJ, took off Richard Erickson, when they brought on the Martinellis, the Anthony,
Yeah,
the Jesus, when they brought on these guys, when they brought on Fred to lock down the midfield,
yeah,
you told yourself, okay, yeah, well, this is the team to see out the game. They actually produced more
yeah,
chances.
yeah, yeah,
They looked
yeah.
they looked like they
Better.
could have scored two
Yeah,
more goals.
yeah, yeah.
Now they didn't end up scoring any, but they created a lot
Of
of
course,
chances. The
of
football
course.
was a lot more free flowing. I personally think Neymar was holding on to the ball a little too long
Yeah,
in the first half.
obviously, every World Cup.
A couple of times he should have passed the ball off and he just held on to the ball too long. But it, and that is the depth of Brazil. It remains to be seen if they are down, if the coach would utilize all of this talent that he has. It's
Yeah,
very
yeah,
easy to bring these guys on when you're winning,
yep,
right? Will he
yep.
bring them on if he's losing? The one thing I can say is that the football did not diminish. He made the
No, 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 it
subs
didn't.
and the football did not drop. So in my estimation, the last 20 minutes, certain aspects of the football actually improved. To me,
Yeah,
Brazil
I
actually
think I
looked
think the
better.
most important stuff, or the most what I was most impressed with, I guess kudos also to Brazil's coach is a genius and that's Brazil's style. But the most impressive of all the subs for me, and being well honest, was actually Fred. Fred actually played as a moderator. I thought he brought a lot more balance to the team when he came on. And I'm really hoping that Eric Ten Hag is watching and seeing what Fred is doing there because personally, I have seen this Fred before at Shakhtar Donetsk. And at Shakhtar Donetsk, he was that moderating player because that team they were full of Brazilians too, which was ironic. And their attacking speed and prowess and flair was out of this world. And Fred was the guy that was the rhythm to make sure that things don't just get chaotic up top. He was the rhythm to make sure that the flow and the balance. I felt like a lot of chances were created more because when Fred came on, he brought that pendulum. He became that pendulum in the middle. So like the ball decided to get a lot more bouncing, like what we call the samba football from Brazil. That happened when Fred came in. And I think when that side happened, we started to see all these other players, their eyes light up like they see candy. So I think with the extent we normally would have expected Fred to come on to see out a game to get a result, I think if they are winning even, once Fred comes on or Fred is out there, if he plays like this, Brazil is a nightmaric team. I would go to say, as far as to say if Fred starts every game and plays all the full like every game for Brazil and he plays like this, I really don't see any team beating Brazil with him there, with what I've seen today. Because he makes all the other players come alive. Was it just a
Yeah,
one
yeah,
game something?
and
We
this
don't
and no,
know, but
no, no. We saw it. Whether the coach saw it, whether he decides he's going to utilize it, I don't know. But
yeah,
the subs came on, and Brazil looked more like
yeah,
Brazil of old. No,
yeah,
it's not that Brazil wasn't playing good before. They were dominating the game. They were supposed to win the game regardless, but they actually looked better. And it wasn't just they looked better because Serbia chasing the game, so they're more open in the back. No,
Yeah,
they look better because the passes was faster, it was
that's
crisper,
right.
and men was making more runs. And that is why they look more dangerous. What do you think
Neymar
nice
will,
enough?
we know Neymar is a kid in the American Carnival walking around seeing the Ferris wheel who gets his first big lollipop, and he holds that lollipop as tight as he could with excitement that I'm not going to let this go and give nobody it. And this is Neymar every World Cup. When the World Cup reaches, no matter what ball it is, whether it's the Jabulani, whatever ball it is, he's going to hold that thing like a lollipop. And you can scream how much you want, he's not going to let it go. I hope his injury isn't too serious, but for other teams out there, that may be that may be catastrophic to them because if he is not able to play further in the tournament, the other players aren't going to hold the ball as much. So you have a bigger problem actually. So I guess
Correct.
a lot of other teams probably having prayer meetings right now, praying for Neymar's recovery. Probably could be going on.
Yeah,
But
for
we'll
sure.
see how it goes.
For sure, for sure. So, folks, that is it. All the groups, all the teams, all
Yeah,
the games, full coverage. Remember, United always where you're gonna be. We're gonna do the exact same thing when everybody plays their second games. So it's not the EPL rewind, but it's the World Cup rewind.
World Cup rewind.
Adelaide's
Yeah,
President Chad, keep viewing to the United Hour, like, subscribe, and if you didn't read before, the fan club, Trinity Mall.
yeah,
You wanna get our World Cup gears, that's where you need to be.
yep,
Check them out. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday, people, and more football tomorrow. Boy,
oh
oh my goodness,
yes,
World Cup. We in football heaven. We in football heaven. So we're looking out for it. Big game tomorrow. US, England.
oh yeah,
Let's see if England could continue that kind of form and what the US could bring out against them. And they always bring something. If it's one
yeah.
thing, they come to play.
That's
Right? They
right.
come to play. So we're gonna be looking out for that. Stay tuned, people.
Right up.
Support the United Hour. Click that like button and subscribe.